You mentioned you got to start with the problem. What kind of problems do your clinicians want to solve with data today?
I think like everyone, they strive to be data-driven. We keep using that term, but they want to do the right thing by their patients. And again, a lot of that is closing care gaps. Care gaps, again, being basic things like getting screenings done in a timely way, whether it's colorectal cancer, breast cancer screenings, diabetic screenings, even something as simple as having your blood pressure checked. How are we doing at those things, and how can we do better? Because it's obvious, I think, to anybody, it's homespun wisdom that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And I think that's true financially. That's also true from an overall health perspective. And so I think our physicians and nurses, other clinicians here want to do the right thing by their patients. It's a very mission-driven organization. And I think we want to use data to help them do that, to understand how they're performing and to make adjustments as possible. One thing, Bill, I will say is we've made it one of my colleagues says, it's a cardinal rule here that we do not weaponize data. And I love that phrase when I heard it. And I think about how data can be used in a punitive way, in a judgmental way, in a comparative way that can lead to anxiety and frustration and burnout. I mean, you have all sorts of problems, like something being attributed to me that maybe I had no control over. There's a famous quote, I'm sure you've heard it, that not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. There's a simple story that you may have heard. It's about the drunk and the lamppost. And it goes like this. There's a man, he's inebriated, and he's standing next to the lamppost looking on the ground. The police officer comes to him and says, "Sir, what are you doing?" He says, "I'm looking for my keys. I dropped my keys." And the police officer says, "Well, you know where you dropped them?" And he said, "Yeah, over there in the dark." And he said, "Well, why are you looking here?" And he said, "Well, this is where the light is." and I think we measure things sometimes in healthcare and in general simply because it's measurable. Are we measuring the right things? Are we measuring things in the right way? And those are things that we think about a lot. I worry about a lot. And it's back to that point about weaponizing data. Just because we can measure something doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing. And how we use that measurement, we want to do that for good and not for ill.